So now let's take a look at using the pin groups and the SYM pin map file. So we're going to look for the map file, and I had already set it up, so we're pointing back to this SYM pin map file. And if we look at that file, we have these symbols defined: test, miss, config, COG, BL, DP, DDR0, and DDR1, and then the rest of the pin groups that aren't in here will be mapped. Just SmartFrac will figure out what to do with them. It's going to map the all power pins to all power pin signals. So one thing that I noticed in the last set, it was when we were running, SmartFrac was breaking up symbols based on this symbol pin limit. So we want to set this symbol pin limit before we run SmartFrac. So let's set that to 250. And what that'll do is it'll allow us 250 pins on a part, 125 pins on a side. And that way SmartFrac uses that to figure out, okay, when am I going to break into a new symbol? So we'll set that to 250. Let's save the settings. Now we clear the symbol description file again, and we run SmartFrac. And if we open the STL editor, take a quick peek around, we can see we created the file, or the symbol called test miss. It started with all signal pins, and here's the pin group called all signal pins. So SmartFrac sorted that group, then it added a balanced symbol size between the next, and it added the test pins. If we look at here, we can see the next one was test, and we slide down a little, then we're going to see a balanced symbol size, and it's going to add the LBADC pins. Then we'll look again, we have another symbol called config, and that's what comes up next. And in that config, let's take a quick peek again. Let's move this a little more so we can see this better. And so we can see the config is I2C pins, so it added the I2C pins, then it added the NVM QSPI, the GPIO pins, if we slide down, and then the TPIO pins. And what it does is it puts a balanced symbol size between each pin group so that you can see that and get to things easily. The COG pins, the A pins and the B pins, those are both output pins. So the COG0A, they're all outputs, so they get placed on the right. The COG-BP pins get placed on the right as well. So this is something that we're going to kind of have to override, because we don't want them stacked up. So let's put the A pins on the left, and we'll do a shift click. We'll use this thing to assign left for that whole side, and then let's take out this balanced symbol sides. And that'll put, that way we can get the AOP, A pins and B pins on the same side. Then we'll have the BL interface, and then we'll have the DP pins, DP0, DP1. The next thing up is the DDR0 pins, then the DDR1 pins, and then the power pins, where the all power pins weren't mapped to symbols, so it does the same thing. It maps everything as best as it can to symbols. And this time it did it a little differently because the pin limit was set to 250. So it fit those into two symbols. So let's run this and see what we get. We're going to save it, pick a new name for the symbols, and we'll call it, let's call it STL from SF pin map 3.STL. And then let's run it. Create the symbols and see what we got. Okay, so we got a symbol, the test miss. Here's the all signal pins. Here's the test pins, and then here's the LBADC pins. we go to the config and we can see the I2C, the NVMem, the GPIO, and the TPIO. I2C, NVMem, GPIO, TPIO. The DDR0. Let's go back to the COG pins. So remember, we edited this, the COG-A on the left, the COG-B on the right. Then we get the BL interface. And then we get the DP pins. And it mixed them all in. Then we go to visit the DDR0 pins, the DDR1 pins, and then our all power pins, and our all power pins too. So you see, with a little bit of editing, SmartFrac did a much better job of organizing the symbols, and then we can go make our own tweaks to it afterwards very easily. So if we want to rearrange some of these pins, we just use the SDL editor to resort them and reorganize them. Maybe we want those VREF DQs somewhere else. I think they belong actually on the DDR pins, so we could move them around. So I hope you see how the power of the pin groups and the pin group to symbol mapping file.